Hey guys, welcome back to our weekly live event. This is Pascal Corcus here, and this is our new set. I'm really excited about it. For you guys that don't know who I am, I'm Pascal Corcus, and I have an accounting firm, insurance agency, mortgage company, real estate investment company, construction, property management. We do it all, A to Z. And I'm here to teach you how to bring your game to the next level. What's up, everybody on Instagram? Good to see everybody. What's up, everybody on YouTube? George, I'm doing good. George, it's doing good. Tell me about your deal. How's everything going with that new project you're buying in New York? George is the one that has the property in Astoria. Tell me about. All right. What's going on, everybody? What's up, Dale? You like the set, right? I like the set. It's a long time coming. What's up, Sharon? Just got off of a live call with Sharon, so. All right, guys. So again, this is your time where I can answer your questions and get into depth with your finances. Normally I charge $300 to $500 an hour for my time to educate people and help bring their game to the next level. This is your time where you can get your information answered for free. I want to be able to help bring as many people to the next level and bring their game up. As you guys know, I started buying real estate when I was 19. I started studying when I was 14, and I was able to learn so much about accounting, taxes, mortgages, how they all play in together with credit and everything else. So George said, should have contract signed Friday, 15-day close. That's awesome, George. Team Ambition, how's everything going? I'm doing great, man. Let me know if you find any more deals, because I'm still looking to buy more deals in Tampa. So let me know if you find anything. What's up, Sharon? Jim, you dropped some real gems. Yeah, well, I'm here to help. I want some real gains for you guys. Patrick says, hey man, how can a 20-year-old get started with real estate and other people's money? So real estate is all about other people's money. Back in the day, in the 80s, we were able to buy property mostly with owner financing. 50% of all real estate was sold with owner financing back then. Nowadays, it's more the bank financing. Both scenarios is other people's money, where individually a homeowner would give you ownership, where they would sell you the house, you put a down payment, and you pay them every single month, and you pay them off. Nowadays, most loans are actually bank financing, but that's still other people's money, because people combine their money at the bank, and the bank then loans that money out. So how do you do that? How do you actually use other people's money? Normally, you have to have certain credentials, right? You want to have a good credit score. When you have a good credit score, you are basically telling people you are credible, that they can trust you. Because when you're going to the bank, they don't have real references. They don't know people that you know. So who is your reference? Your credit score is your reference. And you have the ability to increase your credit score, make it look better, and make yourself look better. That is what's amazing. Back in the day, we had references, and you would get 3 references. You would put the guy that owned the corner store and how you paid him every week. Let me step back further. Back in the day, you didn't have a credit card. You would go to the pharmacy on the corner that was owned by John, and you would actually borrow stuff, take stuff from John, and he would write it down. He wrote down that you took milk, eggs, and Advil. He would write down that, and he would write down, okay, total owed $10. At the end of the week, your mom would go in and she would actually pay off the $10 that was owed. So that was store credit. And when credit cards came out, store credits went away. So back in the day, what they would do is you'd put John Smith down as a reference, and the bank would call him and say, hey, is this person paying their bill every week? And he would say, yes, they always pay their bill. So that was your reference. And normally they ask for 3 references. Today, your 3 references are your credit scores, your 3 credit scores. So the credit reporting agencies are your 3 references. That's why when they check your credit report, they go down to the middle score. So you have the high score, middle score, and low score, because not always do all 3 credit reports report the same number. They assess credit differently. So that is how things have changed. And with better credit, you are able to you get to borrow other people's money. You can borrow more of other people's money. So awesome, great question. All right. So Jimmy says, how do I build a systemized real estate investment company? What are the core people and their titles that I need in my company? So if you're looking to have a systemized real estate investment company, one, you need a great accountant. You need a great accountant because you need to know exactly how you're using your money, how the money's being spent. You also need a great lender that understands the business. And you also need a great insurance company to make sure that your properties aren't at risk from being taken from you in a lawsuit. You need a great lawyer, and you need a great real estate agent. Now, I have an accounting firm, an insurance agency, and a mortgage company to help my clients do as much as possible in-house. When you have that, you will basically have all the people you need to be successful. The last person you would need is someone in the construction industry if you are buying properties that need to be fixed up or significantly fixed up. So those are the major players that you would need on your team. Got a lot of questions on YouTube. Ronald says, if I refinance my home, can I take myself out the loan and make the co-borrower the owner? Well, Ronald has a back in the second question, so maybe that ties in. I would like to reduce my DTI and purchase investment properties. So really good question. So let's separate it because there's a difference between who owns the property, who owns the loan. So most of the time, I do not like more than one person on the loan. For example, if a husband and wife own the home, I don't like both people being on the mortgage. I prefer only one person being on the mortgage. You are allowed to have 10 conventional loans per person. So if the husband and wife are on all the loans, that means as a couple, their max is 10 loans. But if they're not on the same loans, so they both are on the title, meaning they both own the property, but only the husband is on the loan. And then the next property, only the wife is on the loan. This way, now they can have 20 properties as a family before they'll have to go to commercial lending, because commercial lending is higher interest rates and more down payment. So you want to try to stick to conventional lending to get the most bang for your buck. So yes, Ronald, you could be the owner of the property and have your co-owner have the debt in their name only. All right, great question. So George has a question here. What are your thoughts on college housing? You seem you are sophisticated with your tenants. How do you screen them, and what return would you look at? So George, you just asked like multiple questions in one. Would I consider college housing? Yes. Would I screen my tenants very well? Yes. But what you're going to do is you want to make sure that their parents are on that lease as well, because college students aren't the most responsible people. They just left the home. They want to have a good time. So they could be careless. But if their parent is on the lease, they know if something bad happens, it's going to go back home and they're going to get in trouble. So you want to make sure the parents are on the lease. How do you screen them? Well, really you just want to screen the parents, because you want to make sure that they're able to pay you back if the son or daughter make a mistake. You want to make sure that you're going to be able to get your money back. Lastly, college housing is really your profitability is dependent on how well you do your construction. You want to make sure the property is very well built. You don't want carpet. You're going to want tile floor or really hardwood floor, not the softwood, because there's softwood and there's hardwood. You want some of the hardest wood, because they're going to scratch the floor. They're going to be careless. They're going to spill drinks and not wipe it up. So if you have carpet, or if you have softwood, it's going to absorb all of that, and you're going to constantly be spending money. So you want to make sure that you put in some quality material. Some of the people that I know that have college housing, Don't even put in drywall in a lot of the spaces. Like in the hallway, they actually put up plywood because college kids will punch through the drywall. But if you put up plywood, have them punch it, they're gonna break their hand. And with the doors, you don't want hollow core doors. You could if you just want to constantly replace them. You actually want solid core because again, if they punch it or kick it, it's not gonna break as easy. Lastly, hardware. Hardware handles, it gets turned a lot and they're rough with it. So you wanna make sure that you're getting the highest quality hardware so it can take the wear and tear. You invest in the front end, you make a lot of money. So Juice says, is it true I have to own a property for 2 years so I don't get hit with high capital gains tax? That is not correct. You're mixing two different ideas. What you're asking is regarding capital gains. You need to own the property or a stock or cryptocurrency, any of those assets for a minimum of 365 days. Then you're going to go from short-term capital gains to long-term capital gains. Short-term capital gains is 35% tax on the profit. Long-term capital gains is 15% on the profit. So when you go from short-term to long-term, you save 20% in tax. Now, what you're talking about 2 years, how you confuse that is if you are a home owner and you lived in a home for 2 years, once you sell the property, you will not have any capital gains for a profit up to $250,000 for a single individual and $500,000 for a married couple. So that's what the 2 years mark that you're asking about. If you are a homeowner and you live in the property for 2 years, you can have $250,000 of gain for a single individual and $500,000 for a married couple. And that's a lot of money. That's a lot of savings. So now let me tell you this. This is what I want to give you a warning. Never make a decision based on tax. Taxes are important, but financially, if you're in a stock or crypto or something that you know is going to tank, trying to save yourself 20% in tax, 20% on the profit should not be your main decision. What should be the decision is if you think you're going to lose money, it's better for you to sell the stock, sell the crypto, sell the home or property and get out. Because if you lose 20% on the full property value, that's a lot more money than paying an extra 20% on the profit portion only. Okay? So don't let tax, some people will say, which is crazy to me, I don't want to do that because then I got to pay more tax. So you're telling me you'd rather not work or not invest so you don't have to pay the tax? I'd rather make $100,000 or $1 million and have a problem of paying taxes better than the problem of being poor. That's a worse problem. So here we go. Teen Ambition says, believe it or not, I actually have screen recorded all of the questions dating back to 2019 when I was 15. And now I have a collage of all the answers to my questions from your live streams in the video. So Teen Ambition, that's awesome. That's sick. And actually send me it because I would love to see it. That'd be some cool stuff. That'd be dope. So, all right. Ronald says, how does a bank calculate your DTI when qualifying for your investment triplex? Do they count the 3 units as income or do they count 2 of the 3 units? So first, let's talk about DTI. DTI for a primary residence can be as high as 48% of your income. So let's just make it simple. You make $10,000 a month. If you make $10,000 a month, the max debt you can have is $4,800. So if you have a car payment, take that out of the $4,800. If you have a credit card payment, take that out of the $4,800. If you have student loans, a portion of it is going to be taken out of the $4,800. So technically, say you just got done with school, you're making $120,000 a year, you feel awesome, you're a pharmacist, right? You're making that money. Well, you just bought an I-8, $1,500. You got this credit card debt. You got the student loan debt. Before you know it, you might only be able to get $1,500 a month for a mortgage because you already blew so much of your debt. That's why I say do not buy toys until after you buy a house or until after you buy your investment property. Fix it up, refi it, burr it, then get a home equity line of credit. At that point, you did all the big debt you need to get, then go get your car, then go get your toys, then get all the other stuff. And that is the way to be successful. Now, if you can be patient, like I was patient, I ended up buying 23 units before I started doing anything else. Now you have a whole bunch of properties constantly paying you. So if you delay your gratification, if you wait, you're going to get rewarded very well. So the younger you that was patient is going to reward the older you. But the younger you that was not patient is going to be, the older you's going to be pretty mad at that person, right? I wish I didn't do that. So don't think about today, think about tomorrow. When I was younger, in school, they would say this. They would be like, hey, how old do you want to be? And they would go around the high school and all the people would say how old they want to be. And people would be like, oh, I want to be 16. I want to be 18. I want to be 20, 21. And they had all these reasons. And when it was my turn, I would say, well, I want to be like 30, 35. And they were like, why do you want to be that old? I said, well, at least by that age, I'll have money and I'll have the ability to be smart enough to know what I want to do. So I'll have money by that age and I'll have the ability to go enjoy my life. At 21, like, okay, I'll drink, but what more could I do? There's not much I can do at that point. So think about tomorrow, not just today. All right, let's get to these questions. All right, JD wants to go live. Let's see if we can help him out. So Yo Money says he can do magic. Let's see. I don't know. Ronald says, how does a bank calculate your DT? All right, answer that one. He says, thanks. You know your shit. All right. So can a bank take away your home or investment property even though you're making the timely payments? No, the bank usually does not. For conventional financing, for homeowner, home properties, like they don't usually do that because there's so many laws that don't allow that. Now, once you're in the commercial world, you are a big boy. So this is what happened to Dave Ramsey and why I don't agree with him. And unless you really understand what he did, you'd be like, oh, I get it, why you don't want any debt. One, David Ramsey got a bunch of debt for his cars, his boats, his toys. I don't agree with that. You shouldn't be getting debt for toys. In addition to that, he was getting short-term loans on long-term investments. That is like 101. You do not get a short-term loan for a long-term investment. So he got a short-term loan on a long-term investment, and they called him. They called him on it, which says, pay me or I'm taking your property. What that means is why I advise you guys get 30-year fixed-rate mortgages. That means it doesn't matter if the market spikes up high or drops low, the bank will not take the property from you as long as you're making your payments. But in a commercial loan, if you have a 5-year AM and in 5 years you have to pay them off, if you don't, they can take the property from you. And that's what happened to him. He got called. It was the end of the 5 years. There wasn't ability to get loans, very likely, because what in the commercial world, when the economy is bad, there's no one out there giving loans. See, we're used to this with the government giving us a loan or Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac or all these things. But in the commercial world, it is who is the best competitor. So when the market drops and there isn't people giving out loans and the bank says, pay me, you better pay them. If you don't, they're going to take the property back from you. What he assumed was at the end of the 5 years, he could refinance. There was no bank or lender willing to do that at that time. And he got called and he lost everything. So if you don't make those basic mistakes, you would avoid a lot of the problems he had, which is got all the credit card debt for his toys, and then he had callable loans. So be careful. Most of my loans, when I do get commercial loans, I get 5+5, which means they're 5 years fixed. At the end of the 5 years, it readjusts to a market rate plus or minus a certain amount, and then another fixed 5 years. So I got a 10-year window of flexibility that if something does bad happen and I can't refinance, at least I know I got another 5 years to go. All right. George says, how would the bank value a student housing property fully leased? Will they take into consideration the income with a lower cap rate? So George, that's very specific lenders deal in that market. So you actually will have to go to a local bank or a special lender to give you that type of loan. But the answer is yes, they're going to be more conservative. They're going to probably want more down payment from you because it's a riskier investment. Because if you if you are doing college housing, student housing, and you only put down say 10%, well, they could trash the place and the place could be close to worthless. So they're going to probably want 25 to 35% down on that type of deal. So that's what they're probably going to be betting on. Whatever the appraised value is based off of either construction cost or income with a significant down payment. Ronald says, I heard that the interest rates dropped even lower. Do you advise refinancing now? Or should you pay down the loan and refi at the end of this year? So one, you should not be paying down your 30-year fixed rate loan just to refinance later. That doesn't make any sense. Now, should you pay down your credit cards? Yes. Should you maybe pay down or pay off your car loan? Yes. But paying down a 30-year loan just to refinance later does not really make a lot of sense. So part two, you're asking interest rates drop even lower. So right now, interest rates are record lows. They are floating from say like 275 to 299 or 2.5 to 299 in that range. Some people with not the best credit or circumstances could be at like say 3.25, but we're still at record lows. So it's not like, quarter percent is not a big deal, right? You should not be making life decisions off of a 0.25%. Like you're not buying a $5 million property. 0.25% is not going to make much difference. But the answer is yes, you should refinance for the lowest interest rate possible, pull out as much equity as possible, preferably 70, 75%, then go get a home equity line of credit to pull out the rest of the equity possible. Use that money to buy more properties because we're going to go through a hyperinflationary period. Let's just say over this 10, 15-year period, and you're going to be, if you buy assets, you're going to become wealthy. There's a reason that rich get richer. The rich get richer because they have stuff, they have assets. And what happens is as the value of money drops, the value of assets increase. And who becomes richer? The people that hold assets. So the reason rich people, the poor don't get rich is because they don't buy assets. They buy toys. They buy cars. They buy jet skis. Like there's a lot of people out there that don't own a house. They have way more toys than I do, which is not smart. So let's answer some questions here on YouTube. IG. All right. Would it be smart to own and keep a condo with a loss to leverage taxes because my tax bracket is very high? No, I don't that's the best, Brett. What I would do is like invest with a syndicator like myself and invest in a real estate. It's smarter for you to invest in a real estate syndication. What does that mean? A syndication is a group of people that put their money together and buy a property together. Normally, they're buying a bigger piece of property, so it's a lot less risk. And when you're buying a bigger piece of property, you can use a lot more tax loopholes. One of them is called a cost segregation model. A cost segregation model costs $5,000 to $8,000. So it's not advisable to do it on a small property. Your property needs to be, $500,000, maybe $1 million minimum for it to be worthwhile. What happens is we can actually take that $1 million property, for example, and we can write off $200,000 to $300,000 the first year. So if you're part of that investment, hypothetically, you invested $300K, you could get a $300,000 tax write-off. So you don't need to have a loss on a condo that's not profitable. You can have a paper loss to write off on your taxes, but the property made money. This is legal. When you wonder, why doesn't Amazon pay taxes? Why doesn't Google pay taxes? Why doesn't Walmart pay taxes? Why doesn't Trump pay taxes? It's because they're using these rules. And for you guys that don't know, here's a question. What percentage of the tax code is about how much tax you owe? The answer is half of 1% of the tax code is what you owe. 99.5% of the tax code is discounts and credits. So if you have a good accountant, he's going to use as many of those credits for your benefit. But if you're just going and do the simple stuff and cheap, I just want to do it cheap and whatever, then cheap is very expensive. If you have a professional that knows what they're doing, you are not paying them. They are paying themselves. It's an investment when you got a professional doing it for you because they're going to do it better, faster, and you should get major savings. I had a guy out of California. He wanted to use my services, and he learned about all the different things that I could do. And he's like, I want to try you out. I want to see what you could do for me. The first year I did his taxes, it cost him, I think, $4,800 to do his taxes, which is it's about the same amount of what he was paying his other preparer. But I saved him $25,000 in taxes. So whatever he paid me, he got back 5 times that, which is almost what he paid the other guy. But he didn't ever save $25,000. So you got to know what does your professional know? Because a good professional pays for themselves. You're not paying them. It's a return on investment. All right, guys. Let's see. I want to get your questions answered. All right. Scout says, what cap rate will you not go below to purchase any real estate? So as you guys know, I don't look at cap rate. I bought my property in Safety Harbor, right? That property I bought for $975,000. It was a negative cap rate. It was losing money. I purchased it, spent $900,000 on it, and now it makes a crazy amount of money. So it doesn't matter what it's doing today. It's what can you make it become, how you can change it to perform better. So it's not just some properties you'll purchase, they're fully remodeled, they're done, you can't do anything more to them. Some properties you will purchase are fully remodeled and done, but the person is using it as their home and you could rent it out for higher than that. Sometimes they're already a rental, but that's not the best use. You could probably Airbnb it and make a ton more money. So it doesn't matter that you're paying a lot for it because the amount of money through Airbnb will be significantly more. Sometimes you're going to buy a property that's used as single family, but the zoning allows you to make it into a duplex, triplex, or quadplex. So you're paying $500,000. All the other homes in the area are worth $500,000. So you're paying retail, but when you transition it to a fourplex, you'll probably cost you an additional, say, $300,000. So it totally costs you $800,000. And someone would be like, why would you buy something at $500 retail and spend an additional $300? Because when I'm done and I made it a fourplex, it's worth $1.2 million, and I just made $400,000 of profit. So it doesn't matter what it is today. It's what can you make it. Remember, this business is very similar to buying and selling used cars. You want to find a used car, fix it up, and sell it for more money. Now, sometimes you're going to find a perfectly good used car in good condition, but the person that owns it doesn't understand that it might be a collectible, it might be sought after, and you have the connections that are willing to pay more than what you bought it for. That is a great option where you can just buy something already in great condition and resell it to someone else. And that's wholesaling. So there's a lot of ways to make money in the game. And you just got to figure out what is your style and what is your skill set. Now, you might not even be the front runner, right? You might not be the guy that's wholesaling or flipping properties or doing the remodels or burring it. You might be on the team with that person and helping assist that person, because we all have our own skill set. And I need people to help me too. So the people that help me are benefiting from my skills, and I'm benefiting from their skills. So you got to figure out your team. Great question. Sanel, what's up? Sanel says, I agree with you. I agree 100%. It's all about how you can add value and increase NOI. Sanel was a missionary for 10 years. He just got into America 3 years ago, been doing real estate for 3 years, has like 30 units already, and has another 30 under contract. And he had no experience and no money, but he had drive and determination. Jimmy says we need more of these lives. Jimmy, I go live every Wednesday at 9 p.m. Eastern time on YouTube and IG. So come on, join us. Thank you guys for all the love. I appreciate it. Thank you guys for all the thumbs up. And guys, you're missing. There's a ton of content on YouTube. So on my page on IG, you can click the link in the bio. It'll take you to my YouTube page, and there's a ton of content. So all of these live events for the last 2 years are saved on there. And I have a bunch of specialty videos as well, and tons more content to come, specifically on YouTube. So get on there and get it while you can, because the more you learn today, the better and stronger you are, and the more you're going to be able to grow, because you are going to be able to grow in relative to how much you know, not how much money you have. Because if you have a lot of money and you don't know anything, I promise you, you're going to lose it. 98% of all millionaires, professional athletes, I'm talking about football, basketball, boxing, within 5 years lose everything. 98% of them, because they can make money, but they don't know how to save it. They don't know how to invest it, and they don't know how to really judge who is good, because there's a lot of snakes that are going to come around you and try to steal your money once you get it. So learn how to make it, learn how to keep it. There's a lot of people who watch my live events and watch my content that aren't going to invest in real estate. I know it. They make too much money. I mean, there's a lot of people who watch my content that makes like $200, $300, $500, $1 million a year. I was actually surprised, to be honest with you, when I was talking to these people. But when I saw their tax returns, I was like, wow, they're making tons of money. They're never going to do it because it's not worth their time. They end up wanting to invest with someone or invest with me, and they're learning all this content, and I encourage them to learn as much as possible, because then they can tell who is honest and who is lying, who's telling the truth and who's cheating. Because there's people that will come and tell me, oh, I invested with so-and-so and they promised this, 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 and this. And I said, look, I've known some of the best real estate investors, and they cannot do what that guy is promising. And he knows like a hair of what they know. So unless some miracle happens, it's not possible for that person to actually do what they told you. And then it's been 6 months, it's been 9 months, and they're like, yeah, Pascal, every single thing you said, they have not been able to perform on. I don't want to be negative, but I've studied enough of the best people in the game to know if the best people can't do this, it's unlikely this person that has a lot less experience and a lot less practice to accomplish that. Now, if someone came and had a ton of practice and a ton of experience, not because of age, but work that they put into it, that person could accomplish great things. But if I see that you're barely trying and you're not really putting in a lot of effort, I already know you're not going to be able to do that well, right? Because your results are in direct correlation about the effort you put into it and the amount you're studying. I studied from 14 to 19. I didn't buy my first deal to 19, but I've gotten so much experience and knowledge during that time period that the next 3.5 years, I was able to accumulate 23 units. That wasn't an overnight success. That was 5 years of hard work. Now I'm 35. I have a lot of great properties, and people are like, wow, the type of properties you have are awesome. Yes, they are. but it wasn't overnight. I spent years to come to this level. And when everybody else was partying and doing crazy stuff, I was studying, I was working, I was hustling. I remember this one time I was working at the gas station. I was like 19 years old. And my friend, Eric LaRock, which is actually a pretty famous photographer now in LA, he came in, he was buying alcohol. And he bought his alcohol, he went out, he went to the clubs, had a great time. That same day, someone blew up the bathroom at the gas station. And I had to clean it up. And while I was cleaning it up, I said, one day I'm going to be successful. And I'm going to look back and I said, I did everything possible to make it here. So put in the hard work, guys, because if you don't quit, you'll get there. Now, I want to tell you a sad story. I knew another guy that hustled hard, saved up a lot of money. He saved up $30,000, $40,000. And that was a lot of money for him. And that was a lot of money for the time. What happened to that kid is he ended up just like getting burnt out. And he's like, man, forget this. I'm never going to find a deal. I'm never going to find a business to buy. He ended up blowing his money on, I think it was like a Mustang or a Camaro. He blew like 30,000 of his like $40,000 that he saved. What happened? 3 months later, 6 months later, a great business came up. He couldn't buy it. He didn't have any more money left. He was so mad. He was so depressed. To this day, he's still working for other people because he blew his money on a car. And he couldn't sell the car because the car 6 months later was only worth like 20. So, bad decisions. So be persistent and have faith. Don't give up. Because if you are persistent, if you continually have faith, good things are going to come. All right. Did you get your license for did you get your license already for brokerage in New Jersey? So I have my brokerage license for New Jersey, but my company's license is taking more time. Maybe because of it's COVID, but we should be getting it soon. We're working on it. We know a lot of people in New Jersey, have a lot of connections in New Jersey, so we're going to be working on getting that done soon. We currently have Texas, Arizona, California, Florida. So anyone that needs help with refinancing the house or doing a purchase loan, we're here for you. We can help you. Eber says, should I refinance my duplex rental? It will be 18 months in June, but 5-year fixed rate. I'm waiting to buy another property or too risky right now. Any advice? So your 5-year fixed rate on a duplex, I don't like that. I think you should have a 30-year fixed rate loan because, I think in 2 to 3 years, the market's going to drop. Now, am I still buying properties? Yes, I'm still buying properties that I think are going to be good long term. But it's going to drop and then come back. If you're going to have to refinance in 5 years, maybe the home prices will be lower at that time. You don't know. Maybe interest rates will be higher at that time. We don't know. So it's better for you to have a 30-year fixed rate loan because you know exactly what you have and you can account for that. You cannot account for unknown variables. How much does a property manager normally charge? 1 to 4 family, you're looking at 10%. Airbnb, you're looking at 15%. If you have a 10 unit, 20 unit, 40, 50, 100 unit apartment complex, it's 4%. So between 4 to 100, it'll go from 10% down to 4%. So the more volume you provide them, the lower the prices. The more volume you provide in one area, the lower the prices. That's why we property manage our own properties. But what do? I buy multiple properties within the same neighborhood. This way, my people can accomplish a lot in a short amount of time. This way, we're not wasting time and wasting money driving from different parts of town, where if we're going to go, say, fix something, we can go to 3 or 4 properties within the same neighborhood, fix everything, and have one guy accomplish a lot. Otherwise, if they're on different parts of town, instead of maybe getting 4 things finished, he was only getting 2 things finished. So now I need double the guys, double the expense for the same amount of properties. So efficiencies of scale, get everybody in one neighborhood. try to bundle them together. So I have 16 in Safety Harbor. I have like 13 in Dunedin. I'm going to have probably another 12 in Old Southeast of St. Pete. So I'm going to have bundles of properties together to build efficiencies. All right. Let's answer Sal's question. So Aaron. Wow, I have so much more to learn, Pascal. It's really teaching me a lot right now. You're welcome, Jimmy. So guys, again, I've been studying since I was 14. I'm 35. I'm still studying. Probably in the last 2 to 3 years, I've almost spent $100,000 on different seminars and classes with some really smart people to take my game up to the next level, because I want to be at 300 units. I want to be at 1,000 units. So I got to continually increase my skill set to be able to properly manage them. All right, let's see. Ronald says, you mentioned the bank calculates 40% of your income for a primary residence. Is it the same 40% for an investment property? So Ronald, so the DTI, debt to income ratio for a primary residence is 48%, but it's 48% of all of your debt compared to your income. It is 45% for a second home or investment property, so it's more conservative. Now, as you buy more property, your property should be profitable. So if they're profitable, your income will grow. So compared to your expense, you'll still be able to buy another property and another property, as long as your income is above your debt. So if you think about it, try to aim for your income to be 2.5 times your mortgage, taxes, and insurance. So if your mortgage, taxes, and insurance for the property is $1,000, you should aim to have your rental income at $2,500 a month. Then if you do that, and the only thing remaining is down payment amount, you're going to be able to buy more and more and more and expand your portfolio with multiple properties, because they're going to continually give you money. What's up, S2K? All right. Pascal, what was that? I don't know. I don't know what you mean. What was that? Why do I feel like Pascal kind of ignoring Instagram? It's not that I'm ignoring Instagram. It's that Instagram's here and the main camera's here and YouTube's over here. So I'm actually not looking at YouTube or Instagram. I'm actually focusing on the main camera. So I'm not ignoring everybody. I'm definitely answering some questions. So there's an issue with Instagram, though, just so you guys know. I'm adding people to go live, and it's not adding them. Well, this is the first one that worked. So I've tried, I think 3 or 4 so far. This is the first one that worked. So what's up, brother? What's your question?
Hey, how you doing? I have a landlord who's actually a motivated seller, and I'm new to real estate, but this is to me a great opportunity to ask and see how I can potentially either ask for a loan through a bank, or see how I can maybe start a team in order to compose a business partners to go ahead and buy this property. This property is an apartment complex. It's worth approximately $3 million. Obviously, I have no real estate experience. However, to me, this is just a great opportunity. He's a retired man who's probably not going to go ahead and transfer it over to his kid. So to me, this is just a great opportunity. I have been reading and learning a lot about business and things of that nature. So to me, this is just a great time to go ahead and dive into this, or at least learn. And when another opportunity comes, or once I get into it heavily, then I'm more prepared. But just wondering what your opinions or what your suggestions would be.
So let's go into the data. So I want to go into the facts. What makes you think he's a motivated seller?
Reason being is because him and I have a report,
Okay.
and he has told me that he has about 4 offers right now, and that he is looking to buy. I've also had seen him and his son, and it looks like his son's really not too into the management aspect of things. It looks like right now that he's just really looking to cash out. And yeah, so he's kind of things like that.
Okay, so he might be motivated to sell. So there's when someone says there's a motivated seller, that means they want to get out fast. But if someone has 4 offers, they're usually not that motivated if they haven't pulled the trigger yet. Now, unless those offers were really low, which is hard to believe now, because right now most people are not offering really low offers. Everyone's offering above asking because they want to get a deal back. $3 million. What market are you in?
I'm in the Detroit Grosse Pointe area.
Detroit. How many units is it?
I would say it's 3 apartment complexes, each consisting of, I would say, 7 times 4, maybe 5, less than 30 unit.
Less than 30 units?
Yes.
So I've heard, so the people that I know that are in Detroit or that are in Michigan are buying apartments between 30 and 60,000 a door. $3 million puts it at $100,000 a door for 30 units. 35, you're maybe at like what, 85 a door, 80 a door, which seems high. So unless this is a really good area, and I don't know your market, so I'm not really trying to say anything. I don't know your market, but that seems like, not an amazing deal. It doesn't sound like a great deal. I don't know the condition. Maybe it's in a great condition. Maybe it's in a great area. So normally I have bought property, like my first property, I fell in love, and I said, never fall in love with your first property. And it wasn't my first property. I looked at a few, but I ended up finally pulling the trigger on this deal because it was a good deal. It wasn't a great deal, but I paid more than I should. All right. I'm just going to say that I paid more than I should. But if you can get owner financing, and he says, hey, you know what? I'll sell you the property for $3 million, and you don't have to give me a down payment. Just make the monthly payments. And you're like, okay, I'll make monthly payments to you, whatever it is, 30 grand a month, 20 grand a month, 10 grand a month, whatever you agree to. Because terms are just as important as interest rate, amortization. The terms are very important because it's not price alone, is what I'm trying to say. So the price alone shouldn't determine you buying a deal. It should be your terms as well. So if you can buy a deal with no money down, sometimes it doesn't matter what you pay for it. Sometimes it doesn't matter what the interest rate is. So you need to look into the details of it. Because again, if he's willing to give you owner financing and willing to give you a really a good payment where you can collect the payment yourself, do your own property management, pay the taxes, do everything for him, because he probably doesn't want to be involved anymore.
Yes.
If people aren't paying him rent, he doesn't want that headache. Now, you might be a lot better at collecting than he is. So if you're better at collecting and you're better at maintaining, and you can bring in enough money to pay him every month, it might be better for you to just, take owner financing and just tell him, hey, I'll make a payment for you every month. You don't got to worry about anything.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah, from what he has told me and kind of like the people that I do know, it sounds like properties at a prestige area where probably going to, who knows how many years going to be up and coming, or now it's kind of making that transition. And I do believe that investors are overpaying at the moment, but I think that it being more But I imagine happening that they could, what they want to do is, because everything is in original conditions, it looks like, I would imagine that they're going to remodel up the rent and things like that in order to go ahead and back that payment they want to make in terms of like about $2 million or whatever it is. Yeah.
Again, that's possible too. I mean, again, you can do anything. The question is, you got to run your numbers, and do the numbers make sense? And if it makes sense of buying it at $3 million, but especially if you're in a position where you don't have the money, you don't have down payment, and he's willing to give you owner financing, sometimes it's okay to overpay as long as he gives you a low enough payment for you to handle the business, build it up, fix everything up, and so on.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Appreciate that.
And I've actually bought a few properties with owner financing. So it's possible, it's really possible. But you have to ask a lot of people, because it used to be 50-50. Back in the 80s and 90s, it was 50-50, mostly 80s though. It was like 50-50. Half of the real estate was sold with owner financing, not bank financing. But as time goes on, it's more and more bank financing, not owner financing. So you're gonna have to ask a lot of people to make it happen.
What would be a plan B if, let's just say, he's not really looking into owner financing? What would be another alternative in order to, I guess, give a down payment or give a proposition? I don't know how much my good credit score will get me. But
it won't get you, it won't matter. Your credit score does not matter in a commercial deal. Your credit score, as long as you don't have horrible credit, it won't matter. And even if you have horrible credit, but an amazing track record as a commercial property owner, you'll still get the loan. Because in the commercial world, it's about track record, not credit as much. And it's more about the property than it is you. So you have a good track record? All right. Is the property good? Yes. All right, we'll give you the loan. We don't care what your credit score is. So,
what would be an option for?
You have to raise funds. You have to go out there to investors, say, I have this property, I have it under contract, I need to raise the money, and then raise the money. Then you're gonna do a syndication. You're gonna go to an SEC attorney. You're gonna file exempt for your SEC filings, because you're basically raising funds, and you're going to be an active investor. But the issue is this: if you've never been a property owner, they're not going to give you the loan, because what's going to happen is when you're buying more than 4 units, they're going to ask you for your resume. They're going to say, have you done this before? And the answer is no. Then the banks are not going to give you the loan. But owner financing, he's not going to have all those contingencies. If he wants to give it to you, he's going to give it to you. If he doesn't want to, he's not. But with a bank, there's a big checklist. Have you done this before? No? All right, done. We're not going to give you the loan. Because what they found, and this is now, let's go from the small banks. We're going to go to the biggest banks, right? We're going to go to Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac. We're talking about agency debt. I mean, they'll do $50 million apartment complexes, as low as $1 million apartment complex. And they found any landlord that has less than 2 years experience in the game, highest default rate. So the first thing they check, I tell people the type of deals I get from the bank. Right now, the bank's giving me loans on 3 different properties. I only have to come up with 25% down of the purchase, 25% of the remodel. They're giving me a 30-year amortization at 4.5% interest. When people hear that know what that means, they're like, how are you getting such a good deal? And I say, I have a 15-year track record of doing this. And thank God, knock on wood, I've never failed. So for them, it's not risky. They know this is what I do. And they know he's buying very good properties in great areas. So we feel good about owning properties in this area. We feel good about the operator, myself, because he has experience and he's done it These are great areas, so it's not very risky. But one of the biggest factors is experience. So what yourself in the game, go work for somebody in the game. Go help them. I used to work for free. I used to go to these people and work for them for free. I used to pay them. I used to do whatever I could to get with them and ask these questions.
Okay. Where would you recommend starting in terms of getting in the game, or a good maybe startup book or
so first,
or anything like that?
Have you watched all my YouTube videos?
I've been currently starting to watch it. I'm new to your community,
okay.
So I'm very fun to familiarize myself with everything.
So my dad, my videos have a lot of data. Like, I mean, you're going to learn credit, you're going to learn the construction side, you're going to learn the finance side, because I have, if you don't know, I have an accounting firm, I have an insurance agency, I have a mortgage company, I have a construction company, I have a property management company, and I have a real estate investment company. So anything that involves numbers and real estate, we do it. The only thing we do not do is we're not realtors. But everything else, we do. So what you need to do is study all of that, because when you come to say if you came to me, and people come to me all the time, they're like, hey, I want to work with you, I want to do some whatever. I say, okay, what can you do? They're like, I don't know. Like, teach me. I said, bro, I don't have time to teach you. I don't have time for myself. I can't teach you. You got to have some type of skill, something. You have some type of skill that you're like, I can do this and I'll do it for you. Whatever it is. Or whatever, I'm going to work for free. I'll stand right next to you. You tell me, go here, come here, go there, and I'm going to do it. I'm not going to say anything. I'm just going to do it. So I'm going to be a go boy. And I was a go boy for a while. I went here. I went there. I have a course. The link is in the bio. It's called The Foundations of Personal Finance. Basically, all the things that you do not know and you don't even know to ask. There's that. There's just a lot of, and there's so much content on YouTube, right? So you watch that, you're going to learn a lot.
Okay. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Have a great day. Great night.
You too.
What's up, London? Are you a millionaire? Yes. That's not hard now. That's like not even a hard thing, like to be a millionaire today. Bank loans are hard money lenders for flips. So when you're starting out, you're gonna have to do flips. And if it's a small loan, for flipping, when you start out, let me go back. When you start out for a flip, you're gonna probably have to use hard money. And if me personally, if it's a small project, it's like 500 grand or less, I'm probably gonna use hard money. But if it's a bigger project or commercial, I go to the bank, because the bank's gonna give me a 4.5% interest rate on a property for the purchase and for the remodel cost. So I can get great financing terms. And I'm kind of guaranteed on the pricing, because I don't have to worry about falling into the Dave Ramsey issue where they're gonna call my loan. I know my loan's good for 10 years. So I have that guarantee. Now, when I'm done, the property's stabilized and finished, I can decide I can go to a conventional lender, Fannie, Freddie, agency debt, and refinance into a lower interest rate in the 3s. So you have that option. The longer you're in the game, there's more profit. All right, Sal, I'm trying to add you. How old are you? What's up, Sal? How are you?
Hey, Pascal. How's it?
Doing good, man. How you doing?
I'm doing fine. I've been actually working plenty, so I haven't been able to get on your lives or watch any of it. But I have several questions regarding when you particularly look to put something under contract.
Okay.
One is with insurance. I noticed that you put several properties near St. Pete under contract,
Yes.
and that some of them, well, you got them because of their position, how close they were to the water and all that. With respect to insurance, when you
They're not in a flood zone.
select at all.
At all. They're not in the flood zone. If you look at these properties, they're half a block from the water. I'm talking 4 houses from the actual Gulf of Mexico. They're not in the flood zone.
Really?
Really. But even if they were, I run the cost of insurance is cost of insurance. Property taxes is property taxes. So as long as the property's still making money, I'm okay. As long as I can increase the property value, because the biggest thing is I look at cash flow somewhat, but my biggest thing that I look at is I look at how much can I bump up the equity in the property. So if I buy it and I remodel it, how much equity does the property jump up? That is what I look at. So if I'm buying this property for 900 grand, that's a lot of money for a fourplex. In my market, that's a lot of money for a fourplex. But I'm gonna put 300 grand into the property. So now I have $1.2 million into a fourplex. That, if I told that to an average person in my market, they would say I was crazy.
Right.
But I believe when I'm done, it'll be worth at least $1.6 million. Not 1.4, 1.6 million for a fourplex. So I have
25%.
25%. So now I have basically buried a commercial property.
Yeah.
So I'm going to do a refi, pull the cash out, have no money in the deal. So now the question is, well, Pascal, how much money are you making? I kind of don't care because I'm not at the point in my life, thank God, that I really need cash flow that much. Am I going to make good cash flow? Yes, I'm going to make good cash flow. But it doesn't matter as much for me because at that certain point, you don't need cash. You're just building more wealth. So I got 400 grand of equity. It's basically, I created 400 grand of wealth that's tax free. I just let it sit there and I keep rolling it. Now I do a refinance and pull my money back out, tax free as well. I then take that money and do it again. So if I can keep on building 400 grand per property, and I can do that, God willing, eventually I'll be able to do that, say 5 times a year. I'll build $2 million of equity a year.
Yeah.
And then that's just what I did for my remodels. Each year, on average, real estate's going up in Florida, 7% is the average. So on $2 million, we're talking about $140,000 a year in appreciation. So, and that's on one group, that's on the 2 million. I currently have like 8. So, you know, what is that? That's going to be 140, 280, 560. So you're making every year off of the $8 million portfolio I have right now, I'm making $560,000 in appreciation. Now, again, that's not money I can spend, right? It's not like you can stick me up and be like, give me your money. Like, okay, I don't have it. It's in the property value. And like, well, give it to me. Well, I got to go sell it first. And that's going to take 30 to 60 days and blah, blah, blah. Can you wait right there? Right. Like, it's not like that type of money, right? So when people say like, oh, Warren Buffett has all this money, it's not cash. Right. It's not cash in the bank, right? It's an equity in his assets and stuff. So I don't look at like, yes, you want to consider flood insurance now, but it is a number that you're calculating in the big picture of things. It's not just the only factor, right? But it is. Right. I do consider it, but it's not the deciding factor.
Yeah, no. The reason why I asked is because I am also thinking down the road in investment, and not just obviously where I'm at, but in other cities like Miami or coastal cities, especially coastal cities. Their equity holds so long as there's not, the ocean's not rising or there's no flood, everything's solid. And that's why the prices are usually so high.
Well, just remember this. The most expensive piece of real estate in Miami, I think it's called, what is it, Star Island? Mm-hmm. It's like Star Island. Star Island, I think sinks, what is it, like 2-3 inches a year? Yeah, it sinks each year 2 to 3 inches. So we're talking about multi-million-dollar homes that become more expensive every year, and they're sinking into the water. Location, location, location. Listen, you wanted waterfront. The waterfront just got closer. Your property is worth more money now. That's it. You're done. Go retire. So now I'm making a joke about it, right? But the reality is, yes, there should be a concern. My parents were concerned. My parents used to say, don't buy a 2-story house because someone's going to fall down the stairs. How are you going to live like that? Don't buy a 2-story house because someone's going to fall down the stairs. So yes, consider it. Be cautious. Another thing they say, don't buy wood houses. Wood houses are bad. I agree. Wood houses, you have to be very cautious with them because you can have termites, you can have dry wood rot, you can have a lot of problems. But if you just check what you're buying and verify it's good, and if there is issues, just make sure that you're checking and making sure that that possible issue isn't going to be a major issue. So if you keep that in mind, you will be able to verify that it's not a huge deal, right?
Yeah.
But again, be cautious, but optimistic.
Yeah. I heard actually, since you mentioned that expensive property, most, probably not even just Miami, but most high-end properties down there, they have to self-insure because insurance companies won't carry them.
Well, I have an insurance company in Florida, so when you need any insurance coverage in Florida, come see me. I'll help you. And it's not that and to answer that question, Florida is a great state to protect your assets, but it's also easy to be sued. Now, most of the time, the lawyers are really not suing the person. They're suing the insurance company because they're trying to get that money because it's kind of easy to get it. So what's happening is with the Miami market, there's a lot of people suing for a lot of different things that other parts of the state they don't sue for. So because of that, the insurance is very high compared to the rest of the state. So if you have the same home in Miami and you have that same home in Pensacola, which is like south of Georgia, we're talking about like a 10-hour difference because Florida's pretty long. The same home is going to be like 25% of the cost compared to Miami, if not less. Miami might be $8,000 for insurance for the year, where Pensacola it might be $2,000 for the same home, but because the lawsuits are less over there. Pricing for home insurance varies by county in Florida. Yeah. So we'll have insurance, and I have 30 insurance companies, so I can check to find who has the best deal. In Hillsborough County, where Tampa's located, the market could be closed. But Pinellas County, where I live, or by Clearwater Beach, for those that know the different markets, could be open. So the same company says, I won't do any business in Tampa, but I will do business in Clearwater because of the amount of lawsuits and risk that's available. So be optimistic. Before you buy a property, you're going to bring it to me and say, Pascal, give me a quote for insurance on this, and we'll tell you what it's going to cost.
Yeah. I can't remember my second thought, right? My second question, I was so focused on what you were saying.
I'm going to try to add more people to the live event. Let's see if that works.
I actually, right on. Yeah, I remember that guy in the lower left. He's like Brazilian, no?
Yeah.
Portuguese.
Yeah, it's in Texas. Well, I don't know if he's added. It's gonna be my first time trying to add like 3 people at one time because you're gonna have multiple people. This is gonna be pretty cool. But again, IG has issues. I don't know. It might not like me. I don't know because it's always acting up for me for at least the last year. There we go. Now it's working. Hey, what's up, guys?
Hey, how are you?
Awesome. So I'm going to give Nico a chance to ask questions. Nico's been investing in real estate for a little bit, so he always has some good nuggets. Go ahead, Nico. What's your question or comment?
I don't have good nuggets. Pascal has the good nuggets. I just go with the flow.
All right. Well, Nico knows where there's good to eat in Texas. So whenever I go to Texas, he always takes me somewhere nice. So he does have some good nuggets.
All right. So I have a couple questions. The first one with the conforming loans, which is the conventional loan,
Yes.
if you demonstrate to the bank that after 3 months or 4 months you bought a house, it has enough equity, so we're looking at an 80% LTV.
It's 6 months to 12 months is your answer. So the question is, what's your seasoning? So if you bought a property for $200,000 and you put in $50,000, so now you bought it for 200, you spent 50, you totals 250, and when now it's worth 350,000 because you made the bathroom look amazing, you made the kitchen look amazing. The bank will not give you the $350,000 value until either 6 months, where it's seasoned for 6 months, and some banks will have 12 months seasoning. So one of the two. So when I'm a insurance broker, so I check multiple companies for insurance. I'm also a mortgage broker, so I check multiple companies for who's giving you the best deal. There's also different mortgage companies that will let you take your property and put it into an LLC, and other ones will not. So don't just assume that you can buy a house in your name with a conventional loan and then put it into an LLC later. Some banks will not allow that. And if you do switch it, they're going to call your mortgage, which means pay me all the money you owe right now. And you don't want to be in that position because you're probably not going to have the money to do that. Because what you're saying, Nico, is the Burr method. Because if you can do that and create 30% equity in the deal real quick, you can refinance quickly, pull all of your cash back out.
So the situation happened. Give me a second. So situation happened. Remember, I told you I was working on another deal a couple months ago.
The one on the lake?
No. So the lake. It was right after the lake. The lake wasn't. It didn't work.
Okay.
So I got what I'm going through after off listing. So nothing that is on MLS you can buy. It's just a bidding war. So I was able to approach them and talk to him and say, hey, I live on the street. I love the street I live in. I know you're selling the house. Would you be able to sell the house? So we talked about the house from him. Wasn't a conventional loan. I did 15% down as an investment property. Bought the property for $310,000. Now the property is $275,000 because the same street, 4 houses down, same property, which less 300 square feet less as opposed to the one I had. It was sold for $375,000. So that means I already built enough equity based on the same subdivision to demonstrate to say, hey, the $310,000, the appraisal came at $317,000.
How much do you owe on it?
How much I own it?
Yeah.
So 310 minus take 267.
Yeah, so it sounds like you should be able to. And how long have you owned it for?
Say that again.
How long have you owned it?
3 months.
So once you hit 6 months, it sounds like you have 20% equity, and you're going to be able to, do a refinance and, possibly, it doesn't sound like you have enough equity to really pull much cash out. You'd be really just refinancing, trying to get a lower interest rate or remove PMI if you have PMI.
Okay.
Those are because not really much, because if you're doing a refinance, max is 80%, you're going to have closing costs. So you're going to roll into the closing costs. By the time you roll in the closing costs, you're going to be pretty much tapped out. And if you do cash out, the fees are so much higher that it might not be worth it to ask for cash out and only get $20K. So really, you're going to be doing to get a lower interest rate and to remove PMI. So you have to calculate to see if that's worthwhile.
Okay. How about a HELOC?
You could do a HELOC, but remember, if you're planning to do a refinance later, the HELOC is going to hurt you. So if you're planning to do a refinance, you should do it now and then get the HELOC after.
Okay, got it. All right, good. So the second question is on a different property I had. Last year when we had the forbearance plan, I was like, you know what, everyone take advantage. I don't know how the finance is gonna play out. I just wanna play safe, even though I didn't need it 100%, but I wanna play safe in the sense, let me stash some cash aside, and whatever happens in the future, at least I got cash enough to, move things around. So for Wells Fargo, you know what, I wanna be part of the forbearance. Oh, great, let me do this. Boom, everything's good. So now, of course, I have, the profit went up to almost 100K from the time I bought it to now, which is a few years that we bought it. I'm trying to get rid of mine. So I called Wells Fargo. I was like, hey, this is over. When did the 80%?
How long have you been out of the forbearance?
It's gonna be 7 months.
So you should be able to refinance as long as you have at least 2 months of consistent payments.
Right. So that's for refinance. What I'm trying to do, I called Wells Fargo. I was like, hey, listen, they have the ABA, I guess they call it evaluation. It's like a national evaluation, which is a rough number that they come.
Okay.
And it came out to be below the 80% LTV. And they said, well, we cannot go based by that.
So you're gonna have to get an appraisal, like an actual appraisal with another bank. So you're gonna have to go back to Wells Fargo. You can go to any bank to do it.
So what I had to do, actually, I have to request an appraisal. So I requested an appraisal. It cost me $325, and it's by Fred Mac appraisers. They sent out to the appraiser, and the appraisers worked on the numbers. That was just Monday. It happened a few days ago. But now Wells Fargo is telling me that I cannot be on the late payment for 12 months in order to get rid of the money. And what I told them, I said, I was never late because 1 month only, I didn't make payments. On the third month, I paid off all the late payments, which was not a late payment on my record. And it's a forbearance. Let me do this here. Let me get this call. It's another real estate transaction. I'll get back to you guys.
You better close that deal.
Hey,
you better close that deal.
Doing good. How are you? All right.
Nico, what the hell are you doing, man? Get to take yourself off. Nico, you're still here.
He doesn't know.
Let me turn off something. Hey, I'll get back to you guys later, okay?
Yeah.
Good. So we can
Thank you.
to talk.
So hello, what's your name?
My name is Faye.
Faye?
Faye, yeah, Faye.
Faye, awesome. Nice to meet you, Faye. How are you?
Really good. Thank you. Nice meeting you too. I've been following you now for a few months.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, you're Middle Eastern, right?
Correct. Yes, I am.
Yeah, so am I.
Where are you from?
From Iraq?
Iraq. I'm from Syria.
From Syria.
Ahlan wa sahlan.
Yeah. So the question that I had is, okay, so this is what happened. So I live in San Diego, California.
Okay.
And I have a house that I own. And I'm going to try my best to communicate it to you so that you understand. So my house I owned, what I did was I was kind of afraid of, so here's what happened. I had identity theft.
Okay.
So I was afraid for my house.
Okay.
So what I did was I took my house and I had my daughters. I have 2 grown daughters.
Okay.
And put it into their corporation or LLC.
Okay.
Okay, to make sure I secure the house and the house is not touched, and because I was afraid for that, that was the only reason why I did that.
Understood.
So when that happened, I didn't know that. I just learned because I learned when that happened, when I put the house into my daughter's LLC accounts, both of them. they then assessed the house, and my taxes went up because the house now it's worth 600,000, and my taxes went up, and I was so upset. I had no idea. I never knew about that. I didn't know this was going to happen.
So you should have, so first thing is, for everybody that's watching, always get professional advice before making a move, because you have a positive reason you're doing something. There could be repercussions to doing it, and a better way to accomplish your goal without the repercussions. Because remember, if you have a concern, there's probably millions of other people that have the same concern, and already a good solution for that concern with very little repercussions, if not none.
Yeah, I know. It was such a lesson learned. And my daughter, so my oldest daughter, this is what she does too. She's an investor too. She'll invest in property, flip and sell, and building wealth like you do, right? So supposedly, I was depending on her that she already asked her real estate guy that she works with. And when I found that out, I said, "Are you kidding me? Jake didn't tell you this is going to happen?" From paying taxes from 250, they jumped to 600, and San Diego is very expensive.
Yes.
And I was so frustrated about that. Like, he didn't clarify that. I didn't know they had a miscommunication. So I don't know how to handle that now. But what we did was we sent in an appeal because it's both of my daughters. They're both in the LLC, but my house is in my name and my other daughter's name. So is there any way we can? Is there any way, I don't know? My main point is to bring the taxes down.
So what you should have done is put it in your trust. Faye's family trust, because then it's still going to be considered under you, and that's a common thing that a person would move it to their trust. Because then, say for example, just to have an idea, and this is not exactly right, and you need to make sure you consult with your lawyer. One, talking to a real estate investor and talking to a financial strategist. I'm a financial strategist. I also invest in real estate. Not the same thing, because they could be awesome at what they do. That doesn't mean that they understand the tax. They don't understand liability, because having a liability and trying to avoid getting sued is what they did. But they didn't actually set it up to really accomplish your goal, because what you did is you sold it to them.
Wait, what do you mean I sold it?
If you transferred, it doesn't matter who they are. If you transfer a piece of property to someone else, you sold it to them. And it doesn't matter if it was $1, you sold it to them, and they're going to be assessed at market value. So you lost your cap. So that is what you did. And, so that's what happened. So to simplify it is you should have put it in a trust. So what you're going to try to do is probably you need to consult with your lawyer, because your lawyer is going to set up a family trust, so everything's going to be in there. So if something does happen, it's less likely for someone to come at you and take your stuff. Two, the county is going to understand what happened, to understand the reasoning, and hopefully when you make your appeal, they're going to be able to, I understand what you did, and hopefully they'll be able to fix it. Again, I can't really speak on their behalf if that's going to happen or not. But that's what happened, and that's why it happened.
Okay, so when we sent in the appeal, it was just a form. They had us just fill out a form and send it to them. And then, I don't even know what the process is, and we haven't heard anything. And then, COVID happened for over a year. So I don't know what's going on with that, but I want to fix it. And I mean, I don't know how to fix it.
So I can't really advise because now you're in a legal situation. So one, you're gonna need to get a proper attorney to do it right. You should be in a trust, a family trust, phase family trust, whatever you call it. Two, some states have lawyers that will do an appeal for you on property taxes.
Oh.
Now, again, I can't say your state is because I don't deal in California and San Diego law, but that's an option. So you can research that.
Okay, so there are lawyers that do property appeal for
Property tax appeals. Like if you say, hey, my property tax is too high, they'll work out something for you, and they're like, okay, we'll drop it, and whatever we drop it by, we get 33%.
Yeah, I mean, but the intention wasn't to put it in my daughter's.
I understand that, and that's why you're gonna have to get a lawyer to really fight and explain what you did. Because again, I know what your intention is. It's kind of like saying, well, I didn't mean to speed, but did you speed? Yes. So here's your ticket. So you made a mistake without meaning to, but your mistake is done. So now you need someone to fight for you to fight your case. Like I get it. Like I feel bad, but you're kind of where you are, and now how are you going to fix it? Get an attorney to create a trust and move it into the trust, and then
create a trust and move it into my trust. So
because you're still a company owns your house right now. Let's just the fact is a company owns your house. That's it. If you moved it into an LLC, a company owns the house. It's not individually owned.
Wow. And then I was thinking, I want to put it back in my name.
So you can put it back in your name through the trust, because they understand that if a family trust owns it, then you will. They understand that that's still individually owned. Again, a lawyer is going to probably be able to explain it better and explain your situation to them. Because if you try to argue your situation right now to them, they're not going to really do much about it. So
yeah, that's a good point. I should call an attorney and see if he can help me with that. Because I mean, they're my daughters. I do trust them. The LLC, they're my daughters. I trust them. But I still feel I shouldn't have done that or raised the taxes, and the house should be in my name.
In the future, just make sure it's a lot cheaper to pay for advice and save yourself thousands of dollars in mistakes.
I know. Yeah, you're absolutely right. And I was depending on my daughter, and I thought, she asked.
She's not an expert. Like she's not she's good at flipping. She's not a legal expert, right? She's not an advisor for this type of thing. So she did the best she could.
She did. I know. She was telling me, and I was paranoid at the time because of identity theft, and I was trying to save the house. And I said, okay, let me just put it in your guys' names.
It's all good.
Yeah.
You live and you learn. But take those pieces of advice, and that's going to be the right direction. So keep heading down that way, and let me know how it works out.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect. Thank you so much. I appreciate your help.
Awesome. God bless. Have a good night.
Thank you. Thank you. You too. Good night.
So guys, it was great seeing everybody. It's been a long night. For all of you who want to learn more, my course, Foundations of Personal Finance, the link is in the bio on IG. Jump onto YouTube. Lots of great content. And I really appreciate you guys. And I love how you guys show me feedback and show me love by leaving likes, leaving your comments, helping your friends and telling them to follow my pages. Have a great night, guys, and God bless.
Good night. Thank you again.
You're welcome.
Bye.